All right, so mastery. I think we all kind of crave it, going beyond just being good at something, reaching that level where you see what others miss and make what seems impossible possible.
Yeah.
And you sent over some really interesting stuff for this deep dive, Mastery, the book by Robert Greene. Some scientific studies, stories of individuals. This is going to be fascinating.
It really is. I think the sources you provided really point to the fact that mastery, it's not about some kind of magical gift or anything like that.
Right.
It's a process with stages and strategies that can be learned and applied.
That's what's so cool about this topic.
Yeah.
So Greene talks about this idea of a primal inclination.
Right.
What exactly does he mean by that?
So he's referring to the concept that we all have, we all have this natural pull towards certain subjects or activities, and it's often evident from a young age.
Okay.
And this inclination, it's not just some, whimsical notion.
Right.
It's actually rooted in our neurology and genetics.
That's interesting.
You think about Einstein completely captivated by a compass at age 5. And that sparked his lifelong fascination with unseen forces.
That reminds me of Marie Curie.
Yes.
Her childhood fascination with her dad's lab equipment foreshadowed her groundbreaking work in science.
Exactly.
It's like these early interests are clues to our talents and passions.
Precisely. And Greene actually uses John Coltrane as an example.
Okay.
Hearing Charlie Parker on the saxophone ignited this fire in him, shaped his unique musical voice.
I see.
But the thing is, as we grow up, societal pressures often nudge us away from these passions.
Right.
They push us towards what's considered more, practical or safe.
Yeah, it's like we're encouraged to conform, to fit in rather than embrace what makes us unique.
Exactly.
Do you think that's why so few people actually achieve mastery?
I think it's definitely a factor. Masters, they seem to have this remarkable ability to stay connected to that initial spark, even when the world is telling them to do otherwise.
Yeah.
And this is a question for you listening.
Okay.
Think back to your childhood. What fascinated you?
Yeah.
What did you love to do?
Right.
Even if others didn't quite get it.
Okay.
Hold on to that thought as we move forward.
I love how this is already making me reflect on my own experiences. So we have this inner compass, this primal inclination.
Yes.
What's next on the path to mastery?
Well, according to Greene, the next stage is about finding your niche.
Okay.
Instead of following the crowd.
Yeah.
Masters carve out their own space, a domain where their unique talents can shine.
That makes sense. You could be like a decent cook by following recipes.
Yeah.
But to reach mastery, you need to discover your unique culinary style.
Exactly.
Yeah, like that signature dish that sets you apart.
That's a great way to put it. And the sources you shared highlight a couple of strategies for finding your niche.
Okay.
Neuroscientist V.S. Ramachandran. He talks about starting broad, Emma-Day, then narrowing your focus, following those threads that genuinely excite you.
I'm picturing like those choose your own adventure books. You make choices based on what resonates most deeply with you.
Exactly.
You forge your own path.
That's a great way to think about it.
Yeah.
Then there's the approach exemplified by Yoki Matsuoka.
Okay.
Remember her?
Name rings a bell.
Yeah. So she was initially steered towards more traditional paths.
Okay.
But she ended up becoming a pioneer in both robotics and neuroscience.
Wow.
She designs these incredible prosthetic limbs that are practically works of art.
Oh, wow.
Merging technology and human capability.
That's incredible.
That's an amazing way.
So she created her own space by blending her passions.
Exactly.
It seems like mastery is not just about skill, it's about finding that perfect expression of your unique abilities, becoming the best fit for the work you were meant to do.
Precisely. And this brings us to this crucial stage in the journey, the ideal apprenticeship.
Okay.
So formal education gives you the tools.
Yeah.
But mastery requires a second practical education where you truly internalize the nuances of your chosen field.
It's like learning about painting from a textbook.
Yeah.
Versus spending years in a studio with a master artist, getting your hands dirty, experimenting and making mistakes.
You got it. And Greene breaks down the ideal apprenticeship into 3 vital steps.
Okay.
First, you have deep observation.
Right.
When you enter a new field, it's not about showing off what you know.
Right.
It's about blending in, becoming a detective, absorbing the unspoken rules, the power dynamics at play.
It's almost like an aspiring chef spending months just observing a master chef's kitchen, how they interact with the staff, their workflow, the rhythm of their movements.
Right.
It's about understanding the hidden patterns that make the system work.
Precisely then comes skill acquisition. This stage is about mastering one skill at a time,
Got it.
embracing the initial tedium, which builds mental toughness, and surprisingly frees your mind for higher level thinking later on.
I can see how that might be counterintuitive,
Yeah,
but it's like a musician practicing scales for hours.
exactly.
It might seem boring, but it builds the foundation for incredible improvisations later.
Exactly. It's through mastering those seemingly mundane foundational skills that you develop the precision and freedom to truly innovate.
I see.
And once you've got those basics down, it's time for experimentation.
Okay.
Push your boundaries, take on challenging projects, seek feedback, and refine your skills under pressure.
So our aspiring chef is now ready to create their own dishes.
Yes.
Experiment with flavors, get feedback from diners, and refine those recipes
That's it.
based on what they learn.
Exactly.
They've earned the right to experiment because they put in the work.
That's the key. Through this entire apprenticeship, you're not just learning skills, you're transforming yourself.
Yeah.
You're developing a deep understanding of your craft, and you're cultivating the resilience to persevere.
This whole concept of the ideal apprenticeship is pretty intense.
Yeah.
But I'm curious, what role do mentors play in all of this?
Oh, that's a great question. And mentors, they seem to be a recurring theme in these stories of masters. Mm-hmm. Finding the right mentor can make all the difference.
Yeah.
They don't just provide knowledge, they offer emotional support, a model to learn from, and a powerful network.
It sounds like finding a mentor is about more than just identifying someone who's skilled. It's about finding someone who's invested in your growth,
Yes.
who sees your potential and wants to help you reach it.
You're exactly right. And Greene offers some insightful strategies for navigating that mentor dynamic.
Okay.
First, choose wisely.
All right.
Find a mentor who fits your needs and your personality.
Got it.
Some are nurturing guides, others push you with tough love.
Yeah, I imagine Frank Lloyd Wright's mentor, Louis Sullivan, was probably demanding genius type, whereas someone like Mr. Miyagi from The Karate Kid embodied gentle wisdom and hidden strength.
Right. You need to find the right type of guidance for you.
Right.
And once you found that mentor, Greene advises to go deep.
Okay.
Don't be afraid to ask hard questions. A true mentor wants to see you succeed and is happy to share their knowledge.
Yeah. But as many stories show,
Right.
to reach your full potential, you'll eventually need to embrace rebellion.
Yes.
I'm sensing a bit of a paradox here. You need to learn from your mentor, but also be willing to break away from their teachings to forge your own path.
It's not about disrespecting your mentor.
Okay.
It's about recognizing that your journey is ultimately your own. You absorb what you can, but then you build on their foundation and you create something new.
This whole mentor-mentee relationship is fascinating.
It is.
It's like this delicate dance where both partners support and challenge each other,
Right.
leading to growth and evolution for both.
Yeah. What stands out to you about this apprenticeship stage?
What's fascinating to me is that it highlights the importance of humility. You have to be willing to start as a beginner,
Right.
to learn from those who are more experienced, and to embrace the challenges that come with pushing yourself beyond your comfort zone.
It's not always glamorous, but it's an essential part of the journey.
It's so easy to get caught up in the end goal of mastery.
Right.
But this reminds us that the journey is just as important.
Yeah.
It's about the growth, the struggles, the lessons learned. Speaking of the journey,
Yeah.
what comes after this apprenticeship phase?
Well, up until now, we focused on the practical aspects of mastery. Finding your niche, honing your skills, finding a mentor.
Right.
But there's another equally important dimension that we need to explore.
Okay.
And that is the creative power of masters
All right.
and how they unlock it. That's where things get really exciting.
I can't wait to delve into that. But before we do,
Yeah.
let's give our listener a moment to process everything. We've covered a lot so far, from finding your niche to navigating the ideal apprenticeship. There's a lot to unpack.
A lot to think about.
So what resonates most with you so far?
Hold on to those thoughts, because as we explore this creative side of mastery,
Okay.
you might find surprising links back to your primal inclination. Remember that childhood spark we talked about?
Yeah.
It might hold the key to unlocking your own unique path to mastery.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
All right.
Looking forward to the rest of this.
Me too.
We've talked about primal inclinations and apprenticeships, but I'm really intrigued by this idea of creative power.
Yeah.
What separates a master from someone who is simply skilled?
That's a great question.
Is it their ability to tap into some wellspring of creativity?
You've hit on a crucial aspect of mastery. It's not just about technical proficiency.
Okay.
It's about pushing those boundaries, making discoveries, and forging something new.
Right.
And the sources you shared, they suggest that creativity, it isn't some mystical force.
Yeah. Right.
That strikes at random. It's about engaging in a specific process, a way of thinking and being that can be cultivated.
Greene uses this phrase, embrace the creative task.
Yeah.
I have to admit, I'm struggling with what that actually means, like in practice.
Yeah, it means recognizing that creativity, it involves your whole self, not just your intellect.
Okay.
Your emotions, your energy, even your character all play a role. It's about being willing to experiment, to take risks, and yes, to embrace failure as part of the process.
So it's less about having all the answers up front and more about diving into the unknown.
Yeah.
Being comfortable with the messiness of exploration.
Exactly.
It's like a scientist conducting an experiment.
Right.
The real breakthroughs often come from those unexpected results, those moments where the research takes an unanticipated turn.
Precisely. And Greene highlights two key strategies for navigating this creative terrain.
Okay.
The first is negative capability, which sounds a bit intimidating.
Yeah, I was just thinking, what is that?
Right. So it's this ability to sit with uncertainty.
Okay.
To question assumptions, to resist the urge to force a solution, and instead allow the process to unfold organically.
So instead of clinging to like preconceived notions,
Yeah.
we need to develop the ability to let go of control, to be open to new possibilities,
Exactly.
even if they make us uncomfortable.
Yes. And that can be very challenging for a lot of people.
Right, but I can see how that would be essential for those breakthroughs.
Absolutely. The second strategy Greene mentions is the current.
Okay.
It's about this constant cycling between observation and speculation,
Okay.
letting your ideas be challenged by reality, and using reality to fuel new ideas.
Okay, I'm trying to picture this current.
Right.
Is it like a constant flow of information and inspiration?
Yeah, think of it this way.
Okay.
Imagine a scientist studying a new species of plant. They meticulously observe its characteristics, its growth patterns,
Right.
its interaction with the environment. But they also speculate, asking questions like, why does this plant thrive in this particular environment? Or what evolutionary advantage does this particular feature offer?
I see.
And then they test those speculations through further observation and experimentation.
So it's not just about passively observing.
No.
It's about actively engaging with what you're observing, asking those questions.
Yes.
Forming hypotheses and constantly refining your understanding through that back and forth.
It's a dance.
Between speculation and reality.
Yes, and Charles Darwin's development of the theory of evolution is a perfect example of this process in action.
Right.
He spent years meticulously observing and collecting specimens.
Yeah.
But he also allowed himself to speculate, to connect seemingly unrelated dots,
Right.
leading to this revolutionary new understanding of life on Earth.
That makes me think about the idea of primal inclination we talked about earlier. Do you think by reconnecting with those early passions, that sense of wonder and curiosity we had as kids,
Right.
we can tap into a deeper well of creativity?
That's a fascinating question.
Yeah.
And it's something for you listening to consider.
Okay.
Think about those things that captivated you as a child. What sparked your joy? Your intense focus?
Right.
Could there be a connection to your current work? Or perhaps a path you haven't yet explored?
I'm already starting to make some connections in my own mind.
That's great.
This is getting me really excited.
Yeah.
But let's be honest.
Okay.
The journey to mastery, it's not always easy.
No, it's not.
There are bound to be obstacles along the way.
Absolutely. And thankfully, the sources you provided offer some practical advice for overcoming these hurdles.
Okay.
One strategy Greene emphasizes is resistance practice.
Okay.
It's about intentionally pushing yourself beyond your comfort zone,
Right.
embracing the things that you're not good at.
Wait, you're saying we should lean into the things we struggle with?
Yes.
That seems counterintuitive.
It might seem strange,
Yeah.
but think about it.
Okay.
Those areas where you struggle, where you feel resistance, those are the areas where the greatest potential for growth lies.
Interesting.
By working through that discomfort,
Okay.
you not only improve those weaknesses, but you also build mental toughness and resilience, which are crucial for overcoming any obstacle on the path to mastery.
So instead of shying away from those tasks that make me cringe,
Right.
I should actively seek them out.
Yes.
Like if I'm a writer who hates doing research, I should force myself to spend more time interviewing experts, digging through archives,
Exactly.
even if it feels uncomfortable.
That discomfort is a sign that you're stretching yourself, that you're pushing beyond your limits.
Right. And that's where the growth happens.
That's where the magic happens.
Right. Get out of your comfort zone.
Exactly.
Okay, this is giving me a whole new perspective on challenges.
Good.
It's not about avoiding them, but about using them as opportunities for growth. But what about failure? It's inevitable on any path
Yes, it is.
to mastery. How do we deal with those moments where we just completely mess up?
Greene has a great phrase for this: apprentice yourself in failure.
Okay.
It's about reframing setbacks as learning opportunities, analyzing what went wrong, adjusting your approach, and moving forward.
So instead of letting failure crush us,
Right.
we need to become investigators of our own mistakes.
Yes.
Dissecting what happened, extracting valuable lessons, and using that knowledge to do better next time.
Exactly. Think of someone like Thomas Edison.
Okay.
He famously said, "I haven't failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work."
Wow.
His relentless experimentation and willingness to learn from his mistakes ultimately led to the invention of the light bulb.
That's a powerful way to look at it.
It is.
Failure isn't the end, it's just data.
Yes.
Information we can use to course correct and ultimately achieve our goals.
Exactly.
But we've been focusing a lot on individual mastery.
Right.
What about the social aspects?
Yeah.
Don't those play a role in achieving mastery?
Absolutely. That's a great point, and something that Greene addresses extensively.
Okay.
He calls it social intelligence,
Right.
which is the ability to understand and navigate
Right.
this complex world of human interactions.
It makes sense you could be the most brilliant artist, musician, scientist in the world.
Yeah.
But if you can't effectively communicate your ideas or collaborate with others or build relationships,
Right.
your potential impact will be limited.
Absolutely. Social intelligence involves several key skills.
Yeah.
The first is see yourself as others see you.
Right.
It's about seeking honest feedback, even if it's difficult to hear.
That can be tough. It's easy to get caught up in our own little world and miss how our actions are affecting others.
Right.
But I can see how that outside perspective is crucial for growth.
It's about stepping outside our ego and seeing ourselves more objectively.
Right.
And then there's master the social game.
Okay.
This doesn't mean being manipulative. It means understanding those unwritten rules of social interaction, recognizing the power dynamics at play.
I'm thinking of it like learning a new language.
Yeah.
If you want to effectively communicate in a different culture, you need to understand the nuances, the customs, the nonverbal cues.
That's a great analogy.
Yeah.
It's about recognizing that social interactions, they have their own set of rules.
Right.
And by understanding those rules, you can create a much smoother path for yourself and your work.
But let's be real, sometimes you encounter people that make navigating the social landscape particularly challenging.
You're telling me?
Greene refers to them as fools.
Yes.
Oh, I know exactly what you mean.
Right.
How does Greene advise we deal with those who seem determined to obstruct our path?
His advice is surprisingly simple. Avoid engaging with them.
Really?
Don't feed their drama. Don't get sucked into their petty battles. Focus your energy on your own work.
Okay.
Let your results speak for themselves.
It's like that saying, don't wrestle with a pig. You both get dirty and the pig likes it.
Exactly.
Sometimes the best strategy is to simply disengage.
Precisely. By refusing to engage, you conserve your energy and you deny them the attention that they crave.
Right.
It's often the most effective way to neutralize their negative influence.
And this isn't about becoming cold or heartless.
Yeah.
It's about strategically choosing where to invest your energy.
Exactly.
This is giving me a whole new playbook for dealing with those difficult people.
Good.
It's not about fighting them on their terms,
Right.
but about rising above the fray, focusing on what truly matters, your own path to mastery.
Yeah, speaking of that path, we've talked a lot about the journey.
Right.
But I'm curious, what does it look like when someone actually reaches that level?
Yeah.
What are the hallmarks of a true master?
That's the question. Isn't it what separates someone who's simply skilled from a true master?
Right. And luckily, the sources you shared offer some fascinating insights into the minds and habits of those who have reached that level of excellence. One concept that comes up repeatedly is dimensional thinking.
Dimensional thinking. Okay, that sounds pretty high level.
It does, right? So think about it this way.
Right.
Most of us think in a linear, logical way. We process information step by step. We arrive at conclusions.
Right.
But masters, they seem to operate on a different plane.
Okay.
They can see multiple perspectives simultaneously.
Interesting.
They can connect seemingly disparate ideas. And make intuitive leaps that baffle the rest of us.
So it's like they're seeing the world in 3D while the rest of us are stuck in 2D.
That's a great way to visualize it.
Yeah.
And this ability isn't some magical gift.
Okay.
It's cultivated through years of deep immersion in their field.
I see.
Greene talks about how masters, they develop an almost intuitive feel for their subject.
Right.
This deep understanding that goes beyond words or formulas.
I'm picturing a master chess player. They don't just see individual pieces.
Right.
They see the whole board, anticipating their opponent's moves. Several steps ahead, making decisions that seem impossible to grasp for someone like me.
Exactly. And this dimensional thinking, it's not limited to chess.
Right.
We see it in artists, scientists, entrepreneurs, anyone who's reached that level where they can perceive those patterns and possibilities that others miss.
It's almost like they've developed a sixth sense for their field.
It is.
But how do they actually do it?
Right.
Is it just a matter of spending enough time with a subject that their brain rewires itself?
There's definitely a lot of hard work involved.
Okay.
Years of dedicated practice and study are essential.
Right.
But the forces also suggest that masters cultivate certain habits of mind.
Okay.
That enhance their dimensional thinking.
What are these mastermind habits?
Okay, so one habit that comes up repeatedly is this fascination with anomalies.
Anomalies.
Yes. They're not content with accepted explanations. They're constantly looking for inconsistencies, the things that don't quite fit.
Right.
Because those often point to where the real breakthroughs lie.
So they're like detectives always searching for clues.
Yes.
Questioning the status quo, turning over every stone.
Exactly. And by paying attention to those things that everyone else dismisses as weird or irrelevant,
right,
they stumble upon discoveries that revolutionize their field.
Think of Marie Curie.
Yes.
She was fascinated by the anomaly of radioactivity.
Right.
A phenomenon no one could explain.
Exactly.
And by relentlessly pursuing that mystery, she unlocked groundbreaking discoveries that transformed physics and medicine.
Exactly. That's a great example.
So fascinating. Are there any other mastermind habits that we can learn from?
Another crucial one is the ability to revert to primal forms of intelligence.
Okay, primal intelligence. Are we talking about channeling our inner caveman here?
Not quite, but it is about recognizing that our modern language-based thinking, it can sometimes limit our creativity.
Interesting.
Masters seem to have this ability to tap into more intuitive, image-based ways of thinking.
So instead of getting bogged down in words and concepts, they can visualize problems, see solutions in their mind's eye.
Right.
Approach challenges from a more holistic, intuitive perspective.
Exactly. Think of someone like Nikola Tesla.
Okay.
Known for his incredible ability to visualize complex inventions in his mind before ever putting them to paper.
Wow.
He used his mind's eye to experiment and refine his ideas, leading to groundbreaking innovations in electricity and magnetism.
It's almost like they're accessing a different part of their brain.
Yes.
One that's less concerned with logic and more attuned to intuition and imagination.
It's about recognizing that our brains are capable of more than just linear logical thought. By tapping into those primal, intuitive ways of knowing, we can unlock new levels of creativity and insight.
And this connects back to that idea of the primal inclination.
Yes, it does.
By reconnecting with those early passions, those activities that engaged us on a deeper level, we might be able to reawaken that primal intelligence.
Yeah, that's a powerful insight. It suggests that the journey to mastery, it isn't just about acquiring knowledge and skills. It's also about rediscovering and nurturing those innate abilities that we may have lost touch with along the way.
This is making me think about this whole concept of mastery in a new light.
Good.
It's not just about achieving a certain level of skill or knowledge. It's about becoming more fully human, more fully ourselves.
I think you've hit on something profound there, but before we get too carried away, there's one more aspect of mastery I'd like to touch on.
All right.
We've focused a lot on individual mastery, but what about mastery on a collective level?
Interesting.
Can groups, organizations, even entire societies achieve a state of mastery?
That's a fascinating question.
It is.
It makes me think about the potential for applying these principles of mastery to solve some of the world's biggest challenges.
Imagine a company operating with that same level of skill, insight, and creative brilliance.
Right.
As a master artist or scientist.
Wow.
Or imagine institutions designed to foster rather than stifle individual mastery. What would that look like?
That's amazing.
What kind of impact could it have?
Those are some really thought-provoking questions.
They are.
It's like we're opening up a whole new dimension to the conversation.
Yeah, and I think those are the perfect questions to leave our listener pondering.
Okay.
As we wrap up part 2 of our deep dive into mastery.
All right.
We've covered a lot of ground, from overcoming obstacles to unlocking creative power to exploring the minds of masters.
So much good stuff.
What stands out to you as we prepare to move into the final part of our exploration?
What strikes me is how interconnected all of these concepts are.
Yeah.
It's not just about mastering skills or acquiring knowledge. It's about cultivating certain habits of mind.
Yes.
Nurturing our creative potential. Recognizing the importance of social intelligence.
Absolute.
And perhaps most importantly, it's about finding that unique intersection between our passions and our talents, that sweet spot where we can truly excel and make a meaningful contribution to the world.
I love that.
And I'm eager to see what other insights emerge as we continue our exploration of mastery.
Me too.
But for now, let's give our listener a moment to reflect on everything we've discussed.
Yeah, take some time to think about this.
What resonates most with you? What new connections are you making to your own life and experiences? And what questions are you left pondering as we head into the final part of our deep dive? So we've been exploring this idea of mastery on an individual and a collective level.
Right.
But I'm curious, is there a point where someone can truly say, like, I've achieved mastery?
Right.
Or is it more of an ongoing journey?
Yeah.
A constant striving for excellence?
That's a question that has fascinated philosophers and thinkers for centuries.
Right.
And while there's no definitive answer, the sources you shared suggest that mastery, it's less about reaching a fixed destination and more about embracing this lifelong pursuit of growth and evolution.
So it's not like climbing a mountain where you reach the summit and plant your flag.
Yeah.
It's more like navigating this vast, ever-changing landscape, constantly encountering new challenges and opportunities for learning.
Exactly. And one of the most fascinating aspects of this ongoing journey is how masters seem to constantly refine and adapt their approach.
Okay.
Even as they reach the pinnacle of their field. Greene talks about this concept of transforming the craft.
All right.
The idea that true masters, they don't just follow the rules, they challenge them. They push the boundaries.
Right.
They find new and innovative ways to express their unique vision.
I'm thinking of artists like Picasso, who completely revolutionized the art world with cubism.
Yes.
Or musicians like Miles Davis, who constantly reinvented his sound.
Right.
Exploring new genres, pushing the boundaries of jazz.
Exactly. They didn't just master the existing rules, they created their own.
They created their own. Wow. And this transformative power isn't limited to the artistic fields.
No, not at all.
Think of scientists like Einstein.
Right. Who challenged Newtonian physics with his theory of relativity.
Exactly.
Or entrepreneurs like Steve Jobs.
Yes.
Who completely disrupted the tech industry with his vision for personal computing.
They had this drive to not just excel within the existing paradigm, but to push beyond it, to create something entirely new.
It's like they're not content with just playing the game. They want to change the rules of the game altogether.
I love that analogy.
But how do they do it? What allows them to see those possibilities that others miss?
One key factor seems to be their ability to connect with what Greene calls the universal mind.
Okay, the universal mind, that sounds pretty mystical. What exactly does he mean?
So he's referring to this interconnected web of knowledge, ideas, and insights that has been accumulating throughout human history. Masters, they seem to have this uncanny ability to tap into this collective wisdom.
Wow.
To draw inspiration from a wide range of sources and to synthesize seemingly disparate ideas into something new and groundbreaking. So it's not just about being a brilliant individual.
No.
It's about being able to connect with something larger than yourself.
Yes.
To tap into this collective intelligence that transcends any one person's understanding.
Exactly. Think of it like accessing a vast library
Okay.
filled with the wisdom of countless thinkers, artists, and innovators throughout history. Masters seem to have the keys to this library.
Right.
They know how to navigate its vast corridors,
Yeah.
pulling out just the right books to inspire their own creative breakthroughs.
This is making me think about the role of mentors.
Yes.
Do you think that true mentors not only guide their apprentices,
Yeah.
but also help them connect with this universal mind?
That's a brilliant insight, and it makes me think of those ancient traditions of apprenticeship, where knowledge was passed down from master to student generation after generation.
Right.
It wasn't just about learning a craft, it was about connecting with this lineage of knowledge,
Yeah.
this collective understanding that had been refined and honed over centuries.
It's like becoming part of this intellectual family,
Yeah.
inheriting this rich legacy of wisdom and insight, and then adding your own unique contribution
Exactly.
to that lineage.
And perhaps that's one of the most profound aspects of mastery.
Okay.
It's not just about individual achievement.
Right.
It's about becoming part of something larger than yourself, contributing to a collective body of knowledge
Yeah.
that will continue to evolve and inspire generations to come.
This is really making me reevaluate my own definition of success.
Yeah.
It's not just about climbing the ladder or achieving a certain level of status. It's about making a real contribution, leaving the world a little bit better than you found it.
And I think that's a message that resonates deeply with the sources that you've shared.
Yeah.
Mastery isn't just about personal gain.
Right.
It's about using your unique talents and abilities to make a positive impact on the world.
It's been an incredible journey exploring this concept of mastery.
It has.
From uncovering our primal inclinations. Yeah.
To navigating the ideal apprenticeship to understanding the mind of a master.
So much good stuff.
As we wrap up our deep dive,
Yeah.
what final thoughts would you like to leave our listener with?
If there's one thing I hope you take away from this exploration,
Okay.
it's this: mastery isn't a destination, it's a direction.
I like that.
It's about embracing this lifelong commitment to growth learning and pushing the boundaries of what's possible. It's about connecting with your unique passions and talents, finding your niche, and using your gifts to make a meaningful contribution to the world.
Right.
And remember, this journey isn't about perfection.
Great.
It's about progress.
Oh,
It's about embracing the challenges, learning from your mistakes,
right.
and constantly striving to become the best version of yourself.
That's a perfect way to sum it up. So to our listener, we encourage you to continue this exploration.
Yes.
Dive deeper into the concepts that resonated with you. Seek out those mentors who inspire you. And never stop learning, growing, and pushing yourself to new heights.
Keep going. The journey to mastery is yours to create.